I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and today we're marking a major milestone for the automotive industry, the reveal of a new Mercedes-Benz S-Class. This has only happened 6 times before, with each generation of the flagship Mercedes-Benz lasting about 7 years. Given that many people still regard this top-end Benz as the best car in the world, and a benchmark by which nearly all other cars are measured by, this is something of a momentous occasion. But with the automotive landscape looking very different from the last time an S-Class was unveiled to the world, with the increasing influence of fully electric vehicles that have left the world of combustion behind, is the release of a new Sonderklasse still as important as it once was? Well, you can let me know down below at any point in the comments. And while you're there, I also welcome you to subscribe to Chasing Cars and hit the notification bell. In today's video, or tonight's I should say, with Mercedes-Benz unveiling the new S-Class at 10:30 PM here in Australia, we'll look at all the most important facts about the new W223 generation together. As you'd expect for one of the world's most high-end vehicles, there are far too many individual details to mention in just one video, but I'll try to cover off everything that I think the Chasing Cars community would be most interested in. We'll start with engines before turning to the ride and handling features. Then we'll chat about exterior and interior design plus cabin technology before finalising by detailing some of the new safety features and Mercedes-Benz's thinking around automated hands-off driving. So, without further ado, what will power the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class? Well, for the first time ever, an S-Class launches to market without an 8-cylinder engine, though a new V8 with a 48-volt mild hybrid system will be available soon after launch, Mercedes-Benz says. Instead, the launch engine range is based around 2 6-cylinder units, and for Australia, the first engine to arrive will be badged the S450 4MATIC. This uses the M256 3-litre inline-6 turbocharged petrol engine, producing 270 kilowatts of power or 367 horsepower at 5,500 to 6,100 RPM, and 500 Newton meters of torque at 1600 to 4500 RPM. The S450 6-cylinder is assisted by an EQ Boost electric motor and battery, which adds an additional 16 kilowatts of power and 250 Newton meters of torque. Working together, these systems provide the S450 with a 0 to 100 sprint time of just 5.1 seconds, on the way to a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. Mercedes-Benz claims the S450, which comes standard with the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, will consume between 7.8 and 9.5 litres per 100 kilometres of petrol fuel on the WLTP cycle. Overseas, there are 3 other launch variants making use of the same petrol and also a diesel. First of all, there's a higher output version of the M256 inline-6 petrol badged S500, a designation previously reserved for V8 engines. The high output 6 produces 320 kilowatts of power or 435 horsepower and 520 Newton meters of torque, lowering the 0 to 100 sprint by 0.2 seconds to 4.9. In Europe, 2 diesels will be available at launch, including the new S-Class's sole rear drive option for now. Both use the OM656 inline 6-cylinder turbo diesel engine, with the entry variant badged S350D and producing 210 kilowatts of power or 286 horsepower between 3,400 and 4,600 RPM, and 600 Newton meters of peak torque between just 1,200 and 3,200 RPM. The 0 to 100 sprint time is 6.4 seconds with rear-wheel drive or 6.2 seconds with the optional all-wheel drive system, while the rear drive S350D will provide the S-Class's best fuel consumption of as little as 6.4 litres per 100 kilometres on the WLTP cycle. Finally, there will be a high output version of the Diesel 6 badged S400D, making 243 kilowatts of power or 330 horsepower and 700 Newton meters of torque, while nearly matching the petrol 6's 0 to 100 km/h sprint time with a 5.4 second result. It is notable that all launch engines utilize a 48-volt mild hybrid EQ boost system for additional efficiency, plus power and torque boosts to fill in the gap before the conventional turbochargers are spinning at full speed. Later, we'll see the aforementioned mild hybrid V8, as well as several AMG variants. A full electric EQS variant of the new S-Class is also being finalised, and in between there'll be a plug-in hybrid S-Class, with an electric-only range of about 100 kilometres to be released in 2021. The new S-Class will launch with a high-end ride and handling setup fitted as standard, while new additional options will likely make this the most comfortable vehicle ever to see the road. Naturally, airmatic air suspension with continuously variable dampers is a standard feature of the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class, matching the BMW 7 Series and Audi A8. But the best level of ride comfort will be available to those who tick the optional suspension system. The fully active E-Active body control utilizes the 48-volt mild hybrid architecture, and like the new Audi A8, the S-Class's E-Active body control suspension will have the ability to raise the side of the vehicle body by 80 mils if a side impact becomes a sure thing, as the door sill can absorb more energy. Outside the rather dramatic example of side impacts, E-Active body control basically attempts to keep the S-Class body totally level and comfortable at all times. It incorporates a road surface scanner and the curve function we've seen before, which leans the vehicle into corners akin to a motorbike to prevent the torso from compensating for cornering forces. The system is based on the standard fit air suspension while adding hydraulic supports to the airmatic system. Each wheel gets a damper with a hydraulic pressure reservoir connected to intelligent motor and pumps in the 48-volt system by hydraulic lines. Actuation of the motor and pump unit allows hydraulic fluid to be displaced, creating a difference in pressure within the damper and allowing positive forces to be generated. Also available for the S-Class will be a full rear axle steering system, which reduces the turning circle of this vehicle by 1.9 meters to under 10.9 meters with a maximum angle of rear steering of 10 degrees. The new S-Class is a bigger car than before, in both long wheelbase form, which 90% of buyers of the outgoing W223 generation opted for, and also in the more niche short wheelbase version that accounted for 10% of sales. The short wheelbase S-Class now measures 5,179mm in length, up 54mm, while the long wheelbase is stretched 34mm on the outgoing car to 5,289mm. Both versions are 1,954mm wide, or 55mm wider, while the height is up by 10mm to 1,503. Most notably, the wheelbase has been stretched by 71mm to 3,106mm for greater rear legroom in the short wheelbase car, while the long wheelbase enjoys a 51mm stretch to 3,216mm over the outgoing version. Cargo room in all variants is up 20 litres to 550 litres. A more aerodynamic shape than before, the new S-Class comes with a CD figure of just 0.22 despite having a larger frontal area. The traditional Mercedes-Benz radiator grille with the bonnet-mounted star has been maintained here, despite disappearing from nearly all Benzes throughout the rest of the range, and the safety sensors are neatly integrated into the grille. The S-Class retains its 3-point DRL signature, which has become typical of this model, but Mercedes-Benz says those running lights are now flatter and smaller. They're also incorporated with the optional digital light headlights, which can project complex shapes onto the road surface in real time, including an excavator symbol when approaching roadworks and a warning symbol when coming up to traffic lights or no entry signs. When you're in a roadwork zone, the lights actually project lane markings onto the road surface to assist the car's lane keep assist system. These digital lights have a resolution of over 2.6 million pixels, making the automated high beam more than 100 times more precise than it was in the outgoing car. As we've seen from spy shots, the new S-Class features flush-mounted and power-operating door handles, though, notably, these are optional, electrically extending when the driver approaches, or if the outer surface of the door handle is stroked. That's Mercedes-Benz's phrasing, not mine. The brand says they set out to greatly reduce side profile character lines on the new S-Class, instead preferring contoured surfaces designed to look like a sculpture. Wheel sizes range between 18 and 21 inches for the new S-Class, with specific designs matching the various trims on offer. These include an AMG Line variant, which includes these fetching multi-spoke wheels in a large diameter. The rear end of the S-Class is modernised, in my opinion, with the outgoing, almost Art Deco styling ditched in favour of a more progressive taillight design and a simplified aesthetic. But what do you think looks better, the new version or the old S-Class? Let me know down below the video. The new W223 S-Class ushers in a radically more minimal interior with a new technology concept that clearly deviates from recent Mercedes-Benz thinking about interior design. The S-Class moves away from dashtop mounted screens in favour of a return to the cascading dash trend of 10 to 15 years ago, with an integrated touchscreen that is almost square in aspect and measures nearly 13 inches diagonally in its largest size. Though this screen, which casts the new second-generation MBUX operating system, is one of just 5 available displays in the cabin. Aside from the new cascading center console, there's an increased emphasis on interior trims, with a huge piece extending across the breadth of the dashboard. Numerous finishes will be offered, including a mixed metallic weave as well as open-pore wood with real aluminium inlays that follow the contours of the wood. The seats are fitted with up to 18 motors, with very fine adjustment, and a variety of seat coverings will be available. At the base end will be Lugano leather, with longitudinal piping, with higher-end variants moving to diamond pattern Nappa leather, as well as extremely soft, exclusive Nappa leather varieties. Comprehensive massage as well as ventilation features will be available, with 10 massage programs to choose from. At the base of that central screen is a permanent area reserved for the climate controls, but everything above this will be customizable and even presentable in 3 dimensions without the need for 3D glasses by making use of eye tracking technology. With 2 integrated cameras, the display will follow the user's eye, and with almost zero latency, should provide an easier method of navigation for the eye, but we'll have to see how this works in person. Ahead of the driver is a large second digital display in just 2 dimensions, but offers a choice of 4 themes, while there'll be 2 available heads-up displays, with the larger corresponding to a monitor size of 77 inches and projecting precise shapes as if they were on the road lane ahead, including animated turn-off arrows. With the exception of the heads-up display, the infotainment can be extended in full to the rear seats, with the back screens running their own independent, full versions of MBUX as opposed to a more basic mirror of what's happening in the first row. The second generation MBUX software now has native apps for Spotify and TuneIn, as well as the existing Tidal and Amazon Music streaming services. There's also deep integration with the user's own Mercedes Me profile for the storage of personalization settings. Audio will be taken care of by way of an available Burmester high-end 4D surround sound system. 4D? Is this time travel? No, not quite. This refers to the inclusion of exciters or resonance transmitters in the backrests, which convert bass tones into vibrations. There's further integration still with smart home software from a number of providers, allowing passengers in the car to make adjustments to home temperature, lighting, garage doors, and the like from the road. Updates to the software, along with more than 50 other components in the car, will be completed over the air via a mobile data connection, with Mercedes-Benz promising that the S-Class will be kept up to date throughout its entire life cycle, with features that have not even been developed yet. That's an area Tesla has been able to really cut through in recent years. The backseat setup will be responsive to the specification chosen for the S-Class. The short wheelbase version is only available with a static 3-seater bench, and while this setup is standard on the long wheelbase car, buyers will also be able to nominate 2 seats with electrically adjustable outer seats and a business center console badged first class rear option. The new steering wheel features pads on the front and reverse sides of the rim to sense whether the driver's hands are on the wheel. And standard on the new S-Class are a front multi-mode radar, a front long-range radar, a front stereo camera, rear multi-mode radar, a 360-degree camera with 4 lenses, and 12 ultrasonic sensors. These allow a number of changes and improvements to the safety technology, including stronger adaptive cruise control, with AEB that can now prevent collisions with static objects when the S-Class is travelling at up to 130 km per hour, a 60 km per hour improvement. Meanwhile, the lane keep assist with active steering operates at up to 210 km per hour, with the 360-degree camera helping to recognise additional lanes. The traffic sign assist now detects red lights and warns you if you're about to accidentally run one, while the active emergency stop assist can brake the S-Class to a stop, either in its own lane or with an optional single lane change if no obstacles are present and the driver is not responding to jolts of the seatbelt and brakes. Naturally, the new S-Class incorporates a variety of forms of AEB, including for crossing oncoming traffic at intersections. These sensors are now good enough to detect vehicles travelling at up to 120, up from 70 km per hour. But beyond simply looking to prevent accidents, the S-Class's safety systems will also power a new feature called Drive Pilot, which will allow conditionally automated driving in high traffic environments and on test sections of motorway in Germany at first, when the system launches in the second half of 2021. Mercedes-Benz's approach to automated driving is notably much more conservative than that of Tesla, which has allowed functionality of its autopilot system, a partially automated driving assist, to be used by drivers in beta for some time. On the Benz side of the fence, there is an insistence that a legal framework be agreed in various jurisdictions to allow the use of systems like this. Mercedes-Benz says that the Drive Pilot system requires national road traffic laws to allow drivers to use the SAE Level 3 system that's the basis for the program, as this allows the driver to relinquish core driving tasks. For your reference, Level 3 refers to conditional automation, where the car can drive itself given certain parameters apply. Level 3 still requires the driver to be ready to take over at any time, within a few seconds of being prompted to do so by the system. Any release of a new Mercedes-Benz S-Class is an opportunity not only to revel in a beautiful, richly appointed new luxury car, but it's also a moment for the automotive industry to take a breath and take stock of where we're at. Is this still the best car in the world? That's a hard question to answer. Whereas the S-Class was once at the absolute leading edge of technology, I would suggest that Mercedes-Benz are now taking a more conservative approach to the big car questions of our time. A full electric variant was not revealed today, while an automated driving system will not be ready for the S-Class until at least next year, and even then, Mercedes-Benz will defer to national governments for regulation. Many believe that this is a prudent course of action. There is no doubt that the exterior and interior design are more progressive, and will lead not just Mercedes-Benz but also many copycats over the next several years. But is the S-Class still at the head of the pack for high-end vehicles? I, for one, am looking forward to driving the 2021 S-Class in S450 guise when it reaches Australia. And now you know what to do. Let me know your thoughts below. Anything you're thinking about the new S-Class. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.